It's been a substantial issue for many years and it continues to be a substantial issue. I think the estimates for the total economic burden of illicit drugs is anywhere between $12 billion each year and $25 billion each year. So it's a substantial problem and always has been.
So how much is the government spending on tackling this issue overall, and what programs are in place?
Yeah, so the research that we've just released examines how much governments spend directly on countermeasures, including preventing the commencement of drug use, treating people with drug use problems, providing harm reduction services to reduce harm, and policing and law enforcement. And our estimates show that governments in 2021-2022 spent $5.45 billion on these countermeasures.
So this report also shows a larger percentage could be spent on prevention and harm reduction.
Yeah, so of the $5.45 billion, 64% is spent on policing and law enforcement, and a very small 7% is spent on prevention, and then an absolutely tiny 1.6% is spent on harm reduction.
Is that consistent with the figures in previous years?
It's surprisingly consistent. We've done this exercise about 20 years ago and we did it again about 10 years ago in 2009. The amount that's being spent has increased enormously, but that's actually to do with increases in government spending overall. But the distribution between these four different domains of drug policy has remained incredibly consistent.
So what do you expect to happen between now and the next estimate? Will we see similar figures?
Well, that depends on the decision makers. I think we know that the Australian community want a balanced approach to drugs. They want prevention, they want treatment, and they want law enforcement. But they would prefer that the distribution between these things is more equal than it is currently.
Professor Alison Ritter, great to get your thoughts. Thanks for sharing them with us.
Thanks very much.